Did you guys see that for a brief moment before it was reinstated, the the DEI, sorry, swarm bots that Trump and Elon have unleashed on the federal government, they took down Jackie Robinson's military career. They took down his page from defense.gov. It got subheaded DEI sports heroes in the in the URL. They've reinstated it, obviously, because it was immediately subject to a huge amount of blowback. You mean the military career that exposed him to a life free of segregation? The fucked up thing about this, and the important thing to remember, is that you can't let conservatives control these words. Jackie Robinson was DEI. It was the Jim Crow era. His participation in the military and in sports were part of initiatives to diversify those fields. And then he ended up being the baseball guy. He ended up being John Baseball. Jackie Robinson. I mean, it's like an American hero, you know? But you take DEI and you make it exclusively like a slur. You make it the N-word, which is what they use it to be, obviously. But you have to remember, hold on a second, I'm thinking right now, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. Wait a second. Those are good things. Oh, hold on. I'm returning back to my base principles. I'm realizing, well, actually, those are actually really good things. In an era of discrimination against Jackie Robinson for reasons, you know, unknown to me, the deliberate allowance of him, the participation of him in baseball or in the military, I mean, these are DEI, but not the same version of DEI conservatives use, right? Because they just mean the N-word. It did get reinstated, of course, because this is just too... Do you think they're just going to start saying the N-word, though? Why would they say the N-word when they could just say DEI? Like, unironically, do you have any idea how often you can see conservatives say stuff like, oh, he's got a DEI wife. Oh, that's a DEI actress. Like, come on. They did this for years with woke, too. It's just the N-word. They've been doing this with a bunch of famous figures at the Pentagon specifically. The Department of Defense has removed a bunch of, essentially, like, all non-white people from their like notable figures records. I think they've reinstated some of them. Yeah, we know what happened with the Tuskegee Airmen. We know what happened with the Navajo Code Breakers. And they brought them back, but only because there's been backlash. We're going to lose a lot of history during this administration. Yep, remember they've tried to erase trans people from Stonewall. They literally like copy paste, just like control find, control delete. They're trying to. Yeah, the gay pride, Enola Gay is very funny shit like that. These record erasures are being done by absolute Hitlerites. You know? They're walking back on it because other people are going to check their work. You know, there's blowback. They're running back. They're like, okay, hold on. You know? But they haven't done it with trans people at Stonewall, have they? They'll get away with what they can. Their initial statement when the erasures happened are pure Klansman shit. When asked about the reason for the removal of the story on the Department of Defense website about Jackie Robinson's military service, Pentagon Press Secretary John Ulyott said the following in a statement to ESPN. As Secretary Hegseth has said, DEI is dead at the Defense Department. Discriminatory equity ideology is a form of woke cultural Marxism that has just zero IQ conservative buzzwords, literally no thought. Duck speak. That has no place in our military. It divides the force, erodes unit cohesion, and interferes with the service's core warfighting mission. We are pleased by the rapid compliance across the department with the directive removing DEI content from all platforms. In the rare cases that content is removed, either deliberately or by mistake, that is out of the clearly outlined scope of the directive, we instruct the components and they correct the content accordingly. Phenomenal stuff. The Pentagon Press Secretary. Jesus, man. Yeah. I don't know. It's grim. What does cultural Marxism even mean? It means charitably nothing and uncharitably Jews. Pretty much it. It's a Nazi theory that's been like reappropriated for modern day use. It used to be cultural Bolshevism, which just meant like when the Jews do communism or something. They really will take everything from us if they can. Do you have any idea how insanely Hitlerite you have to be to remove an article on Jackie Robinson's military service? Jackie Robinson is like an all-time American hero. He's like as American as apple pie. The story of Jackie Robinson is, you know, participation in the military, his sports career. This is like, you know, it's not just American, it's Americana. He's like, he's entered into history like larger than life, you know? I don't believe they've reinstated the mention of trans people in the Stonewall page, Amelia. He's so big, people like me who don't know sports know about him. Yeah. And the funny thing is, too, like, if anything, you would think that the MAGA ideology would be touting him insincerely as an example of the problems with DEI. They would say, well, actually, segregation was a kind of DEI itself, just against black people. Jackie Robinson, by breaking that segregation, showed the value of genuine meritocratic equality, not only letting him play because he's black or whatever, but by allowing him to play in spite of being black. You get, this is like the kind of thing they would say. And then, like, you know, that's why he was so great, because he wasn't being put in his position exclusively by being black. Like, you could so easily twist his history to serve their narrative, but they're so racist that they don't. Oh, I don't know. At least it's getting pushback for now. Thank you for your channel and all your hard work. I always appreciate your input. Thank you. Yeah, no, I've been feeling a strong sense of community from the community lately, which is good, you know. I know that in these difficult times, a lot of people are checking out, and I advise against it so strongly. It's so important for us to you have to be involved. I'm not saying, by the way, like, be involved in the capacity of donating to me, though obviously that's the most important thing you can be doing. But what I mean is, like, it's people want to recede. And it's so important that we don't, because that's a component of the obeying in advance, you know? You're existing here, you're being alive as a dissident to this administration is a win for us, you know? Your participation is meaningful. Every errant comment made it work. Every interaction with a barista where you both clearly are aware of what's going on and you oppose it. Every tiny little interaction, they add up cumulatively. That's why whenever I engage with a service worker, I make anti-Trump comments. Or at the very least, if given the opportunity, I'll reference like what's going on. I talk to a doctor, I talk to a barista, whatever. Because they see, what do they see in me? They see a white guy. I've got a beard, you know, I'm in Seattle, so I'm probably left-leaning, but whatever. But like in them, if people stop engaging with them in that way, they'll stop engaging with people in that way. You know what I mean? When other people get quiet, they'll get quiet too, and the world gets quiet for all of us. And that's how that shit happens, man. That's how it happens for everyone. You can't, if you give in early, if you obey in advance, if you let yourself recede and wither and wilt culturally so that, you know, the opposition is they're the only ones who are allowed, you let a vocal minority dominate your country. You know? Got to be aggressively woke.